Yes, you heard me right. I got a new tattoo. I'll plug in a picture so you guys can see it because I had the audacity to not wear a short sleeve shirt. I don't know what I was thinking. I booked this tattoo like 2 months ago, so it's been a long time coming, and I may or may not get another one tomorrow to fill this awkward gap. I'll show you. The panther tattoo was originally supposed to go in this space that I'm about to show you, but because of the area, it just didn't fit. So now I want to go walk into this tattoo place tomorrow to get no face, like a ghost, no face tattoo there. I'm so sick of seeing that blank space, guys. Like, you have no idea. So, coming soon, a no face tattoo. I think it'll go perfect right there, right? Right. Fingers fucking crossed. But enough about me. Let's get into these scary stories. And if you have any scary stories of your own that you would like to share, email your story, and I'll read it in a future video. The first Skinwalker story is called Yendaloshi is Watching Me. My grandmother on my mother's side has always been very superstitious, for the lack of better word. She's not religious, but she does believe in a lot of paranormal stuff. Her mother was a full-blooded Navajo, and her father was Irish. Either way, she'd never been anywhere east of Montana, and she grew up in Nevada. One year when I was in grade school, we went to visit her. Most of the visit was pretty uneventful, typical old people stuff, except she always kept her curtains drawn shut and would always peek out the window, and when someone asked what she was doing, she would simply reply, "Yendaloshi is watching me." This went on for nearly the entire visit until a few days before we were due to leave. My grandma and my then baby brother, he's 19 now, lol, were in the front yard that evening planting flowers when all of a sudden my grandmother starts shouting, insert my little brother's name here, "Get away from that creature, it's not safe." Of course, being in Nevada, we all assumed that my brother had found a scorpion or a rattlesnake, so we all ran inside to see what my grandmother, clutching my little brother and shaking in terror against the side of the house, standing out in the yard, was a large, black, Great Dane-sized dog. It was staring at my grandmother with an intensity I'd never seen before. It looked at us, gave a little huff, and bounded off. I don't remember if it moved unusually fast or not, but do remember it had really deep yellow eyes. When my mother asked my grandmother what happened, she kept repeating, "The Yendaloshi has found me. The Yendaloshi has found me." I can't even say it. She moved a couple of weeks after that. The next story is called On the Res Alone at Night. My uncle and cousin saw a large deer on the side of the road. When they got closer to it, it hopped over the fence like a bipedalman. One time, driving back from Gallup, my dad saw an old Navajo woman walking on the side of the road, and when he slowed to offer her a ride, she took off into the plains quickly with inhuman speed. Once when I was a kid, my family was at my aunt's house, which is in a rural, secluded area, when we were toyed with by a few entities. They would make animal noises, and when we looked into the direction the noise was coming from, they would turn a flashlight on and off, on and off. The noises would come from all directions, in increasingly shorter successions. Usually when I'm there on the reservation visiting alone at night, I will feel the presence of evil and dread. Panic and paranoia will wash over me. As sudden as it comes, it will leave. The next story is called It Moved Like a Rocking Horse. My uncle is Mexican and Native American. This happened in the Mojave Desert in Southern California. That's how you say it, right? I swear I don't even know if I'm pronouncing like half of these things right, so I apologize. He was driving around with his girlfriend late at night, and they saw something that looked like a huge black dog on the side of the road. He slowed down. Strike one, never fucking slow down. He slowed down, and the dog began crossing the road. Instead of walking like a normal dog would, this thing moved like a toy rocking horse. He said it stopped in the middle of the road and stared right at them, and its eyes legs. So this happened about 12 years ago. My family owns a farm in the heart of an Indian reservation. One winter I was home for Christmas taking care of the farm while my parents were away Christmas shopping. As I was home by myself, way late in the night, and I hear all the cows freaking out. I knew it had to be the wild dogs that are rampant in the area, so I throw on some boots, grab a shotgun, load it up, and head out to the field. This was a perfect scenario for a horror movie. It was cloudy, but there was a full moon, and it was breaking through the clouds just right to light up all the snow. I ran out to the middle of the field, and just in time to see two dogs. They were standing up, facing each other and fighting. I think perfect 2-for-1. So I pump a shell into a chamber of my Mr. 12 gauge, and then it happened. The two dogs heard the rack, and they both stopped, looked over at me, and ran away on their back legs. Immediately I froze, and every ghost story about skinwalkers and all the native legends I grew up with flew through my mind. Keep in mind, I'm a white guy, and up until then, these were all just boogeyman stories the native kids like to tell to scare us. That night, they became real to me. Everything the Native Americans say, believe that shit, okay? They were here first. But we'll talk about that on another video. I could go off, or as a New Yorker would say, oof. Actually, that sounded more British. Anyway, it was neither fully human nor fully animal. In July 2004 near Gallup, New Mexico, I had my first and only encounter with a skinwalker. Before this, I used to say, I'll believe it when I see it. Well, now I'm a believer. What I saw was not a full human nor a full animal. I was moving, and I had just completed the cleaning and was with my 10-year-old son. We had called it a night and were headed to our new place. As we walked out the front door, I saw a figure move from behind my neighbor's car to a nearby tree that stood between our apartments. It didn't have glowing red eyes, snarling teeth, or a rotten smell. It did move quickly, but not quick enough to avoid the light from a nearby light post and the porch lights. It didn't look at me or come toward me. It moved as if it were trying to avoid being seen. I was within 15 feet of it, but I did not look back to fully inspect it. What I saw was a wolf-like animal that sort of resembled the Beast and Beauty and the Beast, just not cartoonish. It had brown fur that completely covered it. It wasn't a pelt. It was a very large wolf. It didn't have any human traits except that it walked on its hind legs. It cowered behind the tree as we got into our vehicle. When we got in, I asked my son, "Did you see that?" Thankfully, he hadn't. My brother-in-law insists that it wasn't a skinwalker because I would have never seen it. To this day, I can picture what it looked like, know they exist, and pray I never encounter one again. The Grove. This didn't happen to me, but a very close friend of mine. I've heard a lot about coyotes and skinwalkers, and had a weird experience or two with coyotes. Creepiest was waking up to a sleeping bag being surrounded in paw prints without even hearing them during the night. No, it's a no for me, dog. I'm glad they're alive to tell that story because... But never anything paranormal, so to speak. Patrick's story, however, kept me from going back to my favorite back country secret stash. He was leaving the area one morning. He had been camping there a couple days and said there was a coyote that always seemed close by, like in his peripheral vision, but never overt. He loaded up his truck and started to drive down the washout to the fire road. At the end of the wash, he could see the coyote following him. When he pulled into the road, or onto the road, it was running next to him. Now he was freaked out, so he sped up. He said he was going 35 or so, and it was running along beside him. Definitely not possible. When he looked back, the coyote was running on 2 legs and was wearing what Patrick said looked like buckskin pants. An instant later, it was a person wearing a coyote fur, keeping pace with his truck. When he looked again, it was gone. We never went back to the Grove after that. No. What's that meme? Who is that? Jesse J. No. It was like it knew we knew what it really was. I decided to join my bestie Karen lives near a place called Tuba City, Arizona, in the middle of nowhere, but surrounded by rural homes. We go to college together, but I was kind of interested to know about Navajo tradition. The first day we stayed, it was pretty chill, nothing out of the ordinary, but then her grandma, not old, around 67, said that a stray dog came out of nowhere and wouldn't leave. To me, it did act kinda strange and ugly looking. Black, shaggy coat, looked like a mix between a German Shepherd and a lab. That night we were watching a movie in the living room. Had big windows that looked out into the front where the cars are parked, nothing fancy. With the curtains wide open, Grandma was in the kitchen cooking dinner and we were watching a movie. Next to the window is a medium bookshelf and where DVDs are kept. Karen went to put back a DVD we had just watched, but she freaked out because that stray black dog was staring at us through the window, standing on top of the wood box outside. Not something normal dogs do from my point of view or hers. Usually my dog, which is a house dog, scratches at the door to be let in. Res dogs aren't house dogs, and dogs inside houses are frowned upon in Navajo tradition, meant to protect the house and the owners. The other dogs seem to stay away from it. Karen opened the door and yelled at it to get off the box. It ran off behind the shed. We went to Tuba City to get some groceries, came back to the house. The dog was nowhere to be seen. Nothing unusual. Grandma went to visit some people, so it was just Karen and I. About 5 o'clock, we heard someone trying to open the door. Both of us looked out, since there hadn't been a car and no dogs were barking. Looking out the living room window to the door, and there was a dog trying to open the door with its paws. 2 paws wrapped around the brass doorknob, standing on its hind legs. I thought it was weird, but wasn't really freaked out. Karen was, though. She opened the door and chased it off. Grandma came back later, and Karen told her. Grandma didn't like what she heard. Got ready to sleep. We slept in a spare room since we had 2 beds, one window with a curtain opened a little. We turned off the lights, but there was a sound coming from on top of the roof. Good night. Pitter, patter, pitter, patter, pitter, patter, pitter, pattered. Footsteps and scratching sounds and panting. It then sounded like it jumped off onto a large plastic water barrel they had. At first, we heard what sounded like barking, but it grew louder. The other dogs seemed to be barking at something also, but all of a sudden, something was running around the house. Barking was no dog. Nope, it wasn't. The barking sounded human, a deep male voice, barking like it knew we knew it wasn't a dog. Woof, 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 ruff, ruff, arf, arf, arf. Just exactly like that, adding W's, R's, and A's, then panting again by the window, and we started freaking out. Karen decided to, in my opinion, was stupid, open the curtains to look out. There was a stray dog on its hind legs looking into our bedroom, but this time it stunk, and what I thought were 2 black holes in the neck, another pair of eyes. Take me now, Jesus. Another pair of eyes twinkled. Think of those ugly, glossy spider eyes staring at you. And the paws were deformed looking hands with overgrown, somewhat thick, sharp fingernails. Again, both screaming and shutting the curtains closed. Grandma came running through the door and seeing it. First thing she did was grab ashes from the fireplace, load 3 shells into the shotgun from under the bed, bless herself in Navajo, and went outside to shoot it. Grandma's a bad bitch. You can't kill her. If you know that reference, you're a real one. Yelling in Navajo about how the thing wasn't welcome there and to get the hell out of there, for it to go linger somewhere else. Them being both traditional, the next day they called a medicine man to come over and put cedar in. He prayed over everyone with cedar smoke and an eagle feather, blessed the place, made us eat bitter herbs called eagle skull or something, and gave me an arrowhead. Apparently I needed to carry one for protection and a little pouch called corn pollen. Seems to work pretty well. The medicine man said that the dog was a skinwalker, which in Navajo is a long word, but I call them Yoshis. The body of a stray dog, which was killed by the skinwalker, made an illusion so we wouldn't know it wasn't a real dog. He also said that Yoshis tend to harm people by using some sort of human bone straw to spit at someone. Think spitballs, only deadlier, and get human bone. anywhere over there. We're just gonna put Utah in there too, because Skinwalkers. It had a dog body, but human hands and feet. This will be the last story, by the way, guys. I was spending a month with my cousins at my grandma's house. It was August, and my cousins' ages range from 10 to 15, and I was the oldest, being 15. I was staying with a 10, 13, and 14-year-old. We stayed up, telling scary stories often, but one night, a few weeks in, we decided to make a campfire out back. My grandma's house is in the rural suburb. The neighbors aren't too far when you're driving down the road to her house, but in the backyard, it's thick forest with man-made paths through it. Each house is on a hill, so only part of the basement was actually underground. That isn't important until later, though. So we're towards the east side of our yard in a smallish patch of open land. You couldn't see the neighbors' yards from there, and there was probably 3/4 a mile to each side of us that belonged to my grandma. It was maybe about 11 at night, and we were playing truth or dare after telling scary stories, and my 14-year-old cousin dared me and my 13-year-old cousin to go walk through the paths for 10 minutes or so. I said yes right away, as I wasn't easily scared and rather level-headed, but my younger cousin was a bit more hesitant. We didn't bring a flashlight because it wasn't pitch black yet, and we could see enough to not die. We were walking through the path for about 5 minutes, and we could barely see the fire through the trees, and we decided to turn. In the middle of the path was a large dog-like creature hunched over, with its front hands an inch from the ground. What I remember most was how its eyes were so fucking bright white, and it was a humanoid dog shape with a human-like head, but a dog-like body, but human hands and feet. It looked right at us, and I know I was paralyzed with fear as it dashed away from the opposite way of us, towards a creek that ran through the yard. Eventually my cousin and I screamed bloody effing murder, and the other cousins and my grandma ran to us. I don't remember much here because I was really disoriented, and I couldn't think properly, but I did lay in bed, so I assume that I was brought up to the house. All the kids slept in the basement, in a big room with sliding glass doors to the outside, as the room was on the side that wasn't underground. My bed was pressed against the big glass window, and I could see my cousins playing outside down below. The house is in Michigan, so it gets slightly chilly even in the end of August, and there was a slight breeze, so I put on a jacket and ran to go join them, skipping breakfast, not wanting to miss out on any fun. When I got down, I could tell they weren't playing, but rather running to get my grandmother, her dogs, both of them. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Both of them were dead, ripped up. That night we went to bed early. I woke up at 2 in the morning because I felt something hit my head. My cousins were all sitting on the double bed opposite of me on the other side of the room. There was a bunk bed and 2 double beds. The double beds for me and my 14-year-old cousin. They were being quiet and staring at me. The 13-year-old nodded his head towards the window. I froze. They all looked so afraid, and I turned my head slightly to the side, and I saw a really messed up looking face pressed up against the window with gaping eyes looking down at me. I screamed so fucking loud, and it bolted. My grandmother called the police after what I told her happened, and they found nothing. I went home after that, and I never been there during the night again. Poor grandma. Oh my gosh, you guys never sleep over now. That's all I have for you guys tonight. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and all that jazz, and comment down below. Tell me how much you liked it, because I love compliments. Just kidding, but I'm not. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day /